So just doing a little wee sort of inspection service, brush down, just cleaning these little wagons up. Now some of them have the silver seal type wheels on, and if you notice they changed the bodywork. Tops are sprayed silver, on these ones they're not. I don't know, I haven't looked to see if they're English ones, and these are Hong Kong Chinese ones. Black top but still silver seal wheels. Well, then we come to this one, which is got a bit of a mix, but all these ones have got these, they are metal but they look like a metal tyre slipped over a plastic rim. I've never seen them before, so I don't know whether they're a Hornby oddity or a Romford. They're certainly not Pico or Bachmann, nothing that I've ever seen. But they don't run very freely. In fact, they are so far out, the face of the wheel is rubbing on the inside of the axle box. And I've just got my gauge out, and you could see how far out they are. They're ridiculous. I'm surprised that one's a better one, but they don't spin very free and easy. They soon stop, as opposed to the old I mean, they'd keep going. That's the fact that because they're upside down they're rubbing on the plastic. But yeah, bit of an odd. They've got quite a flat faced flange on the front there, as you can see if the light's picking it up. So I'm going to re-gauge them because I just haven't got that amount of wheels to re-shod that many. And the Hornby ones, you've got to take out a second mortgage to buy a pack of Hornby wheels. Bloody ridiculous. Look under the light, they've got the little piece on them that I think is supposed to be like a brake shoe, where the brakes actually go on the flat surface, which I don't know whether is correct for these style of wagons. They look like they might be, but here's the problem. You only need to breathe on them and they're out of gauge. So they look like they'll be a potential pain in the arse. And obviously plastic and metal do not glue very well, so, and I've already tried that with those UF cargo wagons I've got with the similar crap wheel on an axle. I think the axles are a wee bit too big as well. Had a hell of a job prising it out of the shoes there. Normally you just use your thumb and you can pop them out, but this was I had to use a knife to get enough leverage. Just seems to be too much axle bedding in there, which again will slow them down slightly. So yeah, they're not an ideal wheel. Whether they're an afterthought from somebody, being darker they look a bit better than the silver seal wheels if you're at the right height, but they're not going to stay in gauge, and the axles are a wee bit big. So it looks like I'll be searching for a few axles. Well, it might look in a bit of a sorry state, but if you ever wondered what a British ballast sea lion or Seacow look like when you take it apart, this is it. The reason I took this one apart, this one I purchased a while back, it had obviously been converted just to run on a 3-link coupling, and it had kit made bogies that replaced the original ones, and they'd cut back the plastic tab that's fitted to them that gives you the option to attach a various coupling. So you would glue on your D-ring or NEM pocket or whatever. Now they cut that right back, and in fact they rotated them 180 degrees, which on my other one that's had that chop right back, they've done the same. Don't know why, but this one I got out. I was going to make a new set of bogies for it, and I've bought the wrong ones. I've bought these ones, which are C38s. I think I should have got C39, the Gloucester ones. These are physically a lot larger than even these kit ones, let alone the ones that are originally fitted to the model. So that wagon I could rob for spares last night is an exact fit. It's the same part, but because they've modified this one, they've filled in the hole where the little top piece would pop through and lock in. They've also put a reducing bush in there because there was just a pin you glue in to the top of the tower, so it's a permanent fixing. If it comes out, it's because it's broken, because I went to pull it out thinking it was like that one and broke it off. So they've packed it out. They've also shaved down the top, because I took this one apart just to compare it. You can see there's a raised section there just to act as a spacer, I guess, for the factory bogie. So I'm going to attempt to remove that and drill that back out if I have to, so that I can refit the factory style ones, because these ones I think are P4 or EM gauge. I was going to just either repair these and make a strip to reattach and then pocket, but I thought, well, I'll just see how they run, because it is a little bit out of square. More so now because I've re-gauged this wheel to HO00 track gauge, this stuff, and as you can see, it's running on the outside of the rail, so it makes me think it's been set up. And obviously when you gauge them wheels, obviously they're a longer axle. You can see it's a little bit, it's not square, is it? It's leaning that way, which may cause derailments on curves. So obviously they're not going to be ideal, and that does look a bit odd. Admittedly, you're probably not going to see it from that aspect, but there is a lot larger gap in between the wheel and the outside of the truck, so they do look a bit odd. So I think I'm just going to salvage, well, there's never I can salvage the wheels. I'm not really much use unless I find something that's got an oddball width, so I'll keep them in the parts bin sort of thing. But I'm going to have to pop that one off and modify it back to factory. So I might just have to cut a little piece of tubing to fit down inside there to replace the bit they've shaved off, should it cause it to sit too low when it's in a rake. Because I have this one to do as well, which they've put sort of some homemade wire coupling, and they've chopped these right back beyond where the Vectus 3D printing guy makes a modification. You chop them off at that level and glue on a new piece with an M pocket. I don't think they've left me enough plastic, so I might have to use my own fittings. See what I can come up with. Or I could, worst case scenario, I've got those two metal carrying wagons. I've got one set here. I could nick the other set to replace both of these, and they're running, but they're not the same as the Lima PTAs. These are smaller, so I do need something that looks more like that. Now the Lima PTA one, this may come in. I could make these up for the PTA, so all is not lost. But then another spare bit of wagon might turn up at another stage, so I'm not overly bothered. It's not like I need to run them next week, is it? But that one I've got soaking in water to try and hopefully they've used PVI. I'll probably dig this out because it weighs a bloody house brick. Well, so far we've excavated all of that, which is the ballast effect on the top, but it is full of, I believe, plasticine. Quite full. So we've found some donors. We've removed the homemade coupling system, and what I've done with this one is it seemed to sit slightly lower, maybe because they shaved a little bit off the frame, as I've put back, not backman, dapole 12.5mm or 12.2mm wheels, as opposed to the lemurs which are 11.5. So that's brought the ride height about the same. That coupling's a little bit lazy. When you knock it in, it doesn't want to lift up. I had to drill through with a 3mm and then a 4mm and not go all the way through, because there's a little rim inside that hollow section where the collar piece sits on that. So there's a little bit left of the white piping that's just making the trucks a little bit stiff to turn, but not so stiff that I think it'll be an issue. So I might track test these before they go back in the box, just to see if there's any issues. So we've got that one done. That has got a 3-link coupling on the back, so I don't know whether that's going to foul, so I might need to just take the chain off. And we did manage to dig out plasticine or whatever it was, and I've just cut some of this packaging foam and trimmed it so that that can go in just to make a fill the void, and then we'll top off. Probably do a little bit of cellophane and make a wrap over the top so they can be removed if you want to just show a train coming back after it's been on work and they're empty. That one's sort of fairly well glued in, but I'll leave that alone. There's no, if it ain't broke, don't fix it sort of thing. And the little Bachmann brake van that came with the other job lot, I was going to put on the back. And that's also got EMP4 wheels on it as well, so that doesn't fit on the rail either. So I've just put a note with it and put it in the bits and bobs box. And I bought some old Lima UF fuel tankers, HO ones, which is what's yielded me the wheels, which was why I originally bought them. I think they were only a few pounds on eBay. No one was after them, because obviously they don't really fit in with 00 gauge, but the wheels do work on the stuff they did make. So yeah, they were donor parts as well, so we've done okay out of bits and bobs to get these back into rolling gear, and they do run a bit freer. There is a little bit of drag on these dapple wheels, but I don't think a Bachmann will break a sweat pulling 7 of these around.